is Kamalu Alameida. I am currently in the ninth grade at Kamehameha. Today is February 25th, 1996, and I'm going to interview my pupuna for Hawaiian language class. Her name is Aunty Hannah, and she's currently living in Sunset. What is your full name?
Okay, I'm Helen. Helen Lausterer. It's a nickname. My nickname was Hannah. Okay, no. Can I just... This Dr. Davis, remember Dr. Davis? He named me. Yeah, he named me Helen. But Grandma then called me Hannah. And in Hawaiian, they used to call me Kahana, because that's what Hannah was in Hawaiian. It's just Helen, because Hannah is just a nickname. So my name is just Lausterer.
Where were you born?
I was born in Moklea Beach Park.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess Grandma was fishing. I don't know what she's doing there, but that's where I was born. Moklea Beach Park. I mean, at that time, it wasn't a park yet. Yeah, but that's where I was born. Moklea Beach Park. I guess most of the babies, the older ones and all, they never had I guess after that, I was brought to the hospital. But like when Grandpa was here, I remember the grandkids, the older grandkids, they were born at home and Grandpa did it. And the doctor just came just to, did the final thing for him, that was it. But Auntie Girlie had a few that was born at home, down Kaena. Down by Kaena, by Camp Bergman. I remember that. The babies being born and there was no doctor. He used to do it by himself. In fact, most of the time when we got hurt and everything, he did it all. He was like a doctor. He had a small little doctor's case and he'd do it. I don't remember going to the doctors for every little thing. We never did. We used to go out, Grandma used to go out and pick up popolo and, ulo and all that stuff.
You use those?
Yes, that's what we was raised on. Popolo. I remember the young babies when they were born, but if they have a bad cold, you have a soft spot here. The babies all have a soft spot. She pound that popolo and she put it up on top of here. And as they breathe, they're breathing in this, popolo and stuff, and that's what, made the babies good. And then she used to pound the popolo and squeeze the juice out, yeah? And give that to the baby like in the mornings. Oh, it'll take just everything out. And that's how she cured Georgie's boy, his nose, And she used to give him this popolo. And he came. We never had insulins and stuff like that. We used to grow up. Yeah. Grandma did it. And I do that for these guys too. I make them eat popolo and stuff. These kids are like, what is that? And I can eat it. It's gone.
Okay. Where did you grow up?
In Moklea, Wahapai, and finally in Wailua.
Where have you gone to school?
At that time it was Wailua Elementary School. It was not Haleiwa Elementary. Haleiwa Elementary School now used to be Wailua Elementary School. Because they didn't have Wailua Elementary School, remember? And then from there I went to the Wailua.
Hi. Please tell me about the different jobs you worked.
What different jobs? Most of my jobs was cooking. Most of my job was cooking in the restaurants. And then of course I took care of you folks. It was one of the jobs. And now I'm at Coastal Hospital as a cook. Been there for about 8.5 years now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hopefully I can get out in May, I don't know. I have some bills hanging over my head. I think I still gotta work. I keep telling you about it. Oh, get out already. Stay home.
Okay. Tell me about your brothers and sisters.
Okay, we had 11 in the family. We had 6 boys, 5 girls. Was it? Yeah. We had 11 in the family, and if I'm not mistaken, we had 6 boys and 5 girls. Right now, we only have 8 left. Yeah? The other way around? Well, okay, 6 girls and 5 boys. To this date, I think we have only 4 boys and 4 girls. Yeah? Left. Me, Aunty Hannah, Mia. Oh, 3 girls. 3 girls and Uncle Ham, Uncle Georgie, Uncle Helen, Uncle Edith. Oh, just that's it, yeah? Okay. 3 girls and 4 boys left out of 11 children. Yes. I don't even know how old Uncle Ham is. Right now he is the oldest. Yeah. Right now he is the oldest, and then comes the mom. She's 65 over, I think. Yeah. Because I'm gonna be 62, and Kamalu will be like 64. Well, Uncle Georgie is right under her, and then Uncle Herman. And then Auntie Thelma, then me, and then Uncle Ed is the youngest. He just made 60 in November, yeah. He just made 60 in November.
Do you remember your grandfather?
Yes, I do.
What was he like?
Oh boy. I've never seen him to be a nice, happy man. He was, you know, he was. Well, when I remembered him, he was old already, you know. And of course, he only spoke fluent Hawaiian. He only spoke fluent Hawaiian, and we didn't understand him except for few words that he would say that I would understand, you know. But other than that, he was never really close with us because he was staying with us, but he would always be at Kauai Pai. You know, we was living down by Camp Irving, right? When he was living with us, but he was always at Kauai Pai. You know, the old folks, they want to be, you know, on the land. So this is where he was most all day. And so Grandma used to make him lunch and stuff, and you know, they put him in a pool like this, and then he used to go there, and he used to stay there until nightfall, and then they used to bring him home. But that's the only thing I can remember about him. But he was a toughie. He was a mean old man. And he was a big man. He was like Uncle Ham, real big and tall. You know, he was tall and big, yeah, over. And I remember him being on a horse. He used to ride horse, and he had a big horse too. And he used to treat that horse so mean too, you know. He used to make that horse go in the ocean, like he wants the horse, you know, he wants to go fishing, but he'd go with his horse in the ocean. That's how he was. I mean, he was mean, he was strict. And he didn't have any boys, and so he used to make the girls, like Grandma and them, they used to work the fields, you know, and do it because he didn't have any boys. That's when later, and that's when he adopted. He adopted Daddy, as the only boy. But he grew up with his girls, and they did everything. And Grandma went fishing, throwing nets, and everything. Yeah. And then Grandma and the Maggie, and had the auntie from Pupuki then. Yeah. And then the auntie Kapuni that was living in Kauai. Yeah, he had his 4 girls. But then I don't know. She had. Remember Auntie Kelly? You don't know Auntie Kamalu. It was like a half sister to Grandma, But I don't know. She looked like Grandma in a way. And that's the girly Isla. You know that family. You know who? Henry Priest. His wife that he's married to now, Alberta. Alberta is a relative. She's the granddaughter of that auntie, Auntie Kilawau. Her mother was girly, and this is how they got Alberta. So she's a granddaughter of this Auntie Kilawau, and we always called her Auntie Kilawau because the grandma said that was her sister. So it's like I don't know if it's a Hanai sister or half sister or whatever. That's the only thing we know. And then later on, Grandpa, when everybody grew up, Grandpa only had Auntie Maggie, Grandma, and then the other auntie went to Kalapapa, yeah? And then the one in Kauai went to Kauai and never did come back. So there was only these two that was back here. But Grandma used to always tell us that Tutu Maggie didn't exist. She never used to work the fields like how Grandma did. Yeah. And she's the one that, when there was money concerned, she was the one who would spend the money. You know what I mean? Everybody would be working so hard, and she would be the one to spend the money. She would ride the train and stuff like that, whereas Grandmother never had the privilege of doing stuff like that. And she spent most of the money. And when it came down to everything, it was like Grandma was just like a workhorse for them. And
Auntie Maggie was the oldest.
yes, she was the oldest. And then when Grandpa died, she took over the estate. And she did what she wanted to do with whatever. And at that time, when we were little, we didn't know that he had all of this land and all this kind of thing, but it all went wherever. And Grandma never got anything out of it. And but this is how she used to do it, the auntie, as we was growing up, because Grandma, remember when the army bought that portion of land down Kohapai, the army gave $10,000, take it or leave it. And so this is where they went to buy that land at Pupukia for like 3,000, I think it was, at that time, that 1 acre land. And then they bought this lot down Cruiser Drive, next to Hollis, David. I think next to where David was. Yeah, I really don't know where it was, but I think it was like next door, I think. And then you remember the Thompsons? You know the Thompsons?
Yeah, usually
next door or somewhere around over there. The Thompsons, dude, the guy was a big Hawaiian guy. You remember? Well, they bought the land from Grandma, because Grandma didn't want, after all, Grandma didn't want the land. And so since I don't know where they came from, but actually they came from Molokai, those people. And then they bought that land. But that's the only thing I could remember out of the money that the government gave, 10,000. And at that time, you could buy land for like a song, you know what I mean? And so, Tutamega was the one that had the glory of everything. You know, I mean, even to this day. But I remember when I was pretty good with Tutamega, you know, not everybody liked her. But I used to go over there. What is it? And I remember when I used to visit Tutamega, you know, they had, you know how the house was all land papers here and there, you know. I remember distinctly reading books like this thick about all the transactions, you know, that went on. And the book was only about like this big, you know, like that, about this thick. You know, almost like a songbook. I remember that size. It was like about this big. And all the transactions of land was in this book. And all that different lawyers and stuff like that. I could remember all of that, you know. And I mean, if you think about it, when you look at it, all the kind of crooked deals, you know, that was done, didn't have Grandma Demi, it was only her. You know, so she really got the bulk of everything. But you look at them. Your bag. And then look at them. Look at them now. You know. Look at them now. I mean, they're up there, you know. But yeah. What else you wanna know? Oh, I know plenty too. Oh, yeah, Grandma was like a workhorse for them. And I could remember only Grandma and that auntie would be talking fluent Hawaiian. Only them two would talk fluent Hawaiian, you know, when they got together. And then there was this one time, see ya. I think it was all in part of that money that, you know the son Billy, you know, Auntie had that son Billy. He was a big gambler, and he used to get in gambling debts, and then she used to borrow. Maggie used to borrow money off of Grandma during that time, and the only way she would repay us was because we had a big family, yeah. She'd buy rice and, you know, buy fish and all that kind of stuff, you know, to pay back instead of giving Grandma money. This is how she did it. And the auntie in Kauai, they too was kind of poor, and they were fishermen. And Tita Maggie, you know, the husband was a big fisherman, was a commercial fisherman. Uncle Joan, yeah. They had nets, I mean nets and nets and nets. And so that auntie wanted some nets at one time. But of course she didn't have the money to pay for it. So Tita Maggie had given her some nets. And I don't know if she was supposed to pay back a certain time or pay back at all. And this is how she lost her share of land from the Moclear land. Tita Maggie took her share of land to pay for the nets that she had taken. And that's how come Tutunagi ends up with 2/5 shares. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah? It took 2/5 shares. That's how she got that 2/5 shares. Because of that net. You know, I mean, that's how Auntie Maggie was. She was, well, we were young, like I said, you know, and I don't know nothing. She was alright to me, but sheesh. That's why to this day she has 2/5 share. And that other 5th came from them, from that auntie. But that's why that auntie, when she left away, she never did come back. She stayed in Kauai and never came back this way. And then also I heard they had some kind of mix up with the family, so she never came back over here. So those cousins, like the older ones, they remember, I guess, you know, the auntie told them about what happened there. But I don't know, they used to come to Auntie Maggie's, but nobody really close to her.
Oh, I didn't ask you if we're going okay. Okay. Tell me about your spouse.
Tell me about what?
Your spouse.
So like Uncle Bobby, man? Uncle Bobby's... I was still in high school when I was living down Mokalia. Grandpa died in 1950, I think it was. Yeah. 1950? Somewhere around there. Huh? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he passed away in 1950. And at that time he was working at the Globe Wireless, you know, that station right across the Camp River that used to be. And when he passed away, Grandma didn't want to stay there anymore down at, you know, at Kaena. And so we moved up to Wailua, and this is how we're all up in this area. But we could have stayed down there because the wireless said we could live there as long, you know, as we wanted to, but Grandma didn't want to because she, you know, the place just reminded her too much of Grandma, so she just left. And yeah, I remember those good old days down there. It was nice. Didn't have that many cars. In fact, we used to go to school. We used to have to come to all the way up to Camp Muklia is now. We used to have to come all the way from down Kaena and come all the way to Camp Muklia, and then the school bus used to come all the way over there. That was Point. And then we used to catch the bus from there and come to school all the way up to the high school, and then the bus take us back down there. And during that time is when, you know, the plantation had all these little camps inside the cane fields, yeah? They had a lot of these camps. And, no. And they had day camp, and it was only for the cane fields, just when you're first going home now. Day camp is like right after that, you know? That used to be day camp, and then they had another camp, I don't know what they used to call it, but it used to be in the cane fields right where Turnham's Ranch, where they have now all the coconut trees. Well, way back in there used to have another camp too. Yeah, way back there used to have another plantation camp. And bus driver, they used to live in that camp. You know, bus driver that came to pick us up and brought us to school. And I used to go hiking. There was no TVs, no nothing like that at that time. We used to go to the beach. I used to go hiking. In fact, I knew when the plum season, we used to watch for plums, you know, the Chinese plums. And you know how we used to find out there's plums up in the mountain?
Oh.
The birds used to come on the post and they used to do their thing on the post, and you can tell by all the purple stain and stuff on the post, you know, we'd know that there was plums up in the mountain. And this is how we went up in the mountain. I used to always go up there with salt, and I used to sit under that tree. We used to climb up there. I used to sit on the tree. It's a nice big flat rock. I used to pick the plums like this and just dunk them in the salt and used to eat. And watch these cars go by. Car, maybe 1 hour, I think you see maybe one car. You know, hardly nothing. And there was no recreation for us. We lived so far. So, but they had Camp Bergman.
Charlie back then.
Yeah, Camp Bergman was there. And at night, the caretaker, you know the Marcus family? In fact, he just passed away, you know, maybe about 2 years back. They were down there when we was living down there when we was young. We used to go down there to the house and spend our evenings down there. There was nothing else there. Just go down there and just, all us 4 of us, and come home, maybe late at night. There was no, or walk. We used to walk all the way up to day camp. Girlie was living there. They used to live in day camp. So we used to walk up there. No cars. You can walk on the street. You can play on the road. You know, no cars. I mean, they were good times though. Then we go, and our grandma and us, we used to go down there and we used to gather salt. During the summer, only during the summer there was Hawaiian salt, and we used to gather salt. And then Grandpa was working, so we'd walk down and we'd gather the salt, and Grandma used to put them all underneath the pine trees. You know, there were little pine trees here and there along the way. And we'd gather the salt and put it underneath there, and then when we'd go home in the evening and Grandpa gets through working, then we'd go down there and he'd pick up the salt, you know, instead of us, you know, carrying it home. So that's what we did during the summer. And we lived off of those rocks of ocean, like fishing, bamboo, crabs, whatevers. But now, they have a gate down there. Did you know that?
What?
They have a gate down there where you can't go through. But I don't know. I get to walk through.
I think you can't drive.
You can't drive. But the thing about it was because of these dune buggies. But Uncle Bob and I went down there to look at that gate. But I don't know if they have the fence going all the way down. I didn't see it. So what's the sense? The dune buggies can still go on the ocean side. What's the sense? It's not that they take the road. They make their own road. So if they didn't put a fence all the way down, they can still go. And they try to preserve the plants and whatever else is down there, which is nothing now. You know, and but at that time we can just go all the way down and just do whatever we want. Yeah, there were good times down there. And now when you go down there, my God. Homeless people. I still go down there though. Look for shells and stuff. But now I think if I want salt, I don't know. Nowhere, I'm going to walk that distance. I'm going down this way. They have rocks and stuff. In fact, over here is even better because we don't have all that dust. You know, all that dust and the salt over here is really nice. But the idea of how you're going to get in there, because a lot of people, it's all gate. People raise cattle on the beach side, yeah. And I know some workers that work with me. They can get in there. I always tell them, I say, you see salt, but you know, Filipinos, they don't know. And he says, what? And I said, when summertime comes, I said, you take me there. I said, I'm going to fill up some holes. This is what Grandma used to do, yeah? Fill up the holes with water. Hopefully you'll get to be the one to go and pick it up later, unless somebody else go and pick it up, you know? But like down this way, it'll be safe because not everybody has access to the beach. And you can just probably find your own hole and make your own salt, you know? Go back in a few days or something, you know? I think that's the only way. But I do have some kind of salt yet. Yeah.
Tell me about your spouse.
Uncle Bobby?
Yeah.
Okay, Uncle Bobby was born in Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not a local boy. But he came here when he was young. His father was in the service, and uh, his mother is Portuguese. She was from here, and so Uncle Bobby came here when he was a young boy and stayed here ever since. But his family, they went all over because the father was in the service. They went different places. But I guess they didn't leave until he was older. And so he stayed here. And he's like a local boy now. And Uncle Bobby has one sister and 6 boys. Yeah. Uncle Bobby is the second oldest in the family. And all of his brothers are still living, and so is his sister. And they're all in the mainland. And he's the only one that's here now. What else you all know about him? He's 70 years old. He's 71 years, 72 years old. Okay, he's 72 years old, but he still putters around. He's retired. And he has hobbies like making woodwork, bracelets and pins and earrings and necklaces, and of course he does a lot around the house. I don't think I can do what he can do. Goes out and cleans the yard, like last night we had the party. He scrubs all the pots and puts everything away in the rain. But yeah, Uncle Bobby is easygoing, and he likes to fish too. He looks for shells and stuff. And we have, I did say how many kids I have, did I? Okay, I had 9 children, lost 1, so I have 8 children. And I have 21 grandchildren. And 1 great-grandchild, which is about a little over a month old. And I have numerous nieces and nephews.
What was or is your life's most ultimate goal?
What is the one thing you want to do?
What is the one thing I want to do? I want to retire.
Wow.
That's one thing I want to do. And it's an impossible dream, but I would like to go back to Guyana and live.
Okay. Tell me about your life when you were growing up. Oh. Do you remember riding the train back in Alameida?
No. I don't remember any of that. But I do remember the trains passing the house, but I could only remember that the trains used to pass by. They used to come all the way up, I guess go to Wahio and around Kahuku. But whenever they passed, they had pineapples. I remember that very distinctly. And the pineapples, being that we were the only family down there, and we wanted pineapples because, we live so far from the pineapple fields. And so the men that was working on the trains, what we do is we go down by the train tracks and they'd throw us pineapples. Yeah, they throw us pineapples. And the pineapples come crash. And of course, they're mashed. Very seldom you find nice apples, but sometimes they throw just the pineapple itself, but sometimes they throw cases down. Pineapples, yeah. And then I remember the camp that these Japanese people used to take care of the train tracks. They had this camp down there, and they were like about 4 or 5 families, Japanese families. They used to clean the tracks and maintain the tracks, the train tracks. And then when the World War II came on, they had to move out because they were Japanese and no Japanese was allowed in that area at that time.
Yeah.
So all the Japanese had to leave, and I think they moved up to Wailua. Some of them, they went to different places, yeah. They had, I don't think they were in concentration camps. We didn't have any of that, you know. It's just that they moved out of the area. And Kaena, I mean, Moklia side turned into like a military base for CBs. We had CBs, we had Marines, Navy, and Army in that area with the Air Force. The Air Force took care of the airfields. And the Army was, God, they were all over. There was like, you know, the Boy Scout camp. Used to be a Boy Scout camp beyond Camp Erdman, further down. That was the Army camp. And Camp Erdman itself was like where the Navy and the Marines stayed. This shared Camp Erdman. And the camp that used to be for the train track workers, that camp became the CB's camp. And they all lived in that area. And then the Air Force got the airfield. But the Army was just here and there, you know, throughout Kaena. In fact, we were the only civilian family down there, and we used to live up at, and we used to have guard all through that war years. The guard used to be right on our road, you know, watching. And then we had blackout times during the war, where all of the windows had to be painted black, where if you put the lights on, nobody could see, you know, like the enemies couldn't see in. The windows had to be all painted black. And but we had nice time because Grandpa used to drink, you know. My dad used to drink, and Army personnel and the CVs and whatever, we used to have parties like crazy, and he used to drink, and all of these GIs used to come, but we hardly put out the food because they used to all come and bring all the food from the camps. Yep, they used to bring all the food. They used to, whenever anybody's birthday was in the family, they'd bake the cake down there, and they'd bring the cake, and we had all that food. But Grandpa we used to raise pigs, and Grandpa used to kill a pig. Like it was almost every Monday we used to have a party. And they used to drink and have a ball. But we were young, we weren't going to school yet, but those were happy days. I liked it. You know, something different. But you know, during those days, we didn't get bored like the kids do now. We were satisfied with what we had. No toys, we weren't cluttered with toys. Got lucky you got even one toy. And we, you know, right? God, and then that's when your dad came in. We used to go to school, and Uncle Harry, well, your grandpa, come and used to beg for your daddy. You know, when he was a little bitty baby, and my mom used to take care of him, but she was working because during that time it was like the war years, and then they had a USED camp down at Camp Woodman. And she was working there. And the grandma was working too. But she didn't take care of her dad. So every day we'd go to school, Dad would come over there still all day begging for him, one boy. And we used to tell Grandma, don't you give him away. And what happened? We came home one day, he was gone. You know, he'd taken your daddy. He had adopted him. But we couldn't do anything because we were young and we were going to school. And we couldn't very well stay home and watch him. And so that's how he ended up in Alameida. But that's okay. He gave him a good education, he's a smart man. Turn around and be a fisherman like everybody else.
Is there anything I may have left out that you may want to include in this interview, or do you have anything you would like to add to this interview?
No. Except this is the first time I've ever been on tape. I don't know how it's gonna sound and what it's like, but I hope you have good grades with this.
The future generations of our family will see this interview. Family members that may never be fortunate enough to meet you, like your great grandchildren. Would you be so kind as to leave a message for them, something you might like to tell them, though you may not be able to see them?
Yeah. If ever they need any kind of interview, go to Kamalu on Alameida, and he'll give you the tape.
Thank you, Uncle Kamalu, for letting us have a chance to learn about Aunty Hannah. We loved hearing Papa Roy's voice, and we love you very